Getafe and Mallorca on a Saturday afternoon. Final game of the 2024 calendar for both of these teams. It's been a great year for Mallorca, a Copa del Rey final, and now pushing towards the top end of the table. A victory putting them, at least temporarily, into 5th place in the standings, which has been something that has surprised just about everybody in LaLiga, though it was Getafe in the first half who looked like the better side. This opportunity for Bertug Yildirim on a wonderful ball over the top, weighted perfectly by Crisantes Uche. There were a number of Getafe players who really impressed us with the way they played. Yildirim took this down brilliantly, but Dominic Greif with a necessary save. What about Luis Milla and Yildirim again? And it was Greif who had to keep it out, and it was initially called offside, though we weren't 100% convinced. Had this found the back of the net, it might have turned into a goal. Yildirim, though, with those two chances, although he would be a first half talking point for another reason, at least later on. Milla again with a delivery that ran all the way through. This one Yildirim couldn't quite catch up to. Bounced all the way through. Mallorca trying to respond. No Vedat Murici for this one, but they did have a number of other players who have been excellent in attack. Dani Rodriguez missed the mark on this one in particular, just scuffing the shot wide. Later on, the chance would fall on the other end with Koba da Costa, who was one of Getafe's best players in this game, just his 3rd ever start in La Liga EA Sports. And he has proven to be a very valuable player for them. Played Spanish football in the 4th tier last season. This cross from Gené found the head of Yildirim. It was his 3rd shot on target. He had all 3 shots on the Getafe target in the first half. Unable to make any of them count, though. And this one, clearly the most difficult of them all. Mallorca, with Kyle Larin, had a problem here because Larin was busted open by his ankle. A very rough challenge from Gené. A challenge that saw Larin bleed from the sock afterwards. It kept him down for a couple of minutes. An understandable injury, but he stayed tall and stayed on the pitch. And from that point, Mallorca tried to respond with this opportunity for Sergi Darder. Another beautifully weighted ball over the top from Pablo Maffeo. And then shortly thereafter, Takuma Asano, off of the direct goal kick from the previous chance, had this opportunity that he could have taken with his left foot. It was left by Larin. Asano, though, tried to go with his right foot, and he just took too long on the ball. Still, a solid save from David Soria. This is the man we were talking about, Koba da Costa. What a find he's been for Jose Bordalas. It was moments like this that almost led to Getafe finding the breakthrough. He was very shifty on the left-hand side. He was working Pablo Maffeo throughout the afternoon. But then, strangely, after picking up a yellow card, Yildirim was taken out and Peter Federico took his place. This was the longest stint in any game in La Liga for Federico, who came in before halftime. Yildirim comes off the pitch, a little bit confounded, not quite sure why. He had created a number of chances in the first half. Walked right by Bordalas. They didn't exchange any words, and you can see the frustration from Yildirim afterwards. Getafe still continuing to look for chances. This one fell for Da Costa, and he leaned back a bit too far. For as good as he was on this day, that finish needed a bit more clarity. And a chance for Crisantes Uche, who managed to track this one down, and he looked for the chip. Uche was also excellent in terms of hold-up play. This time trying to pull off something more spectacular. It wasn't to be. So when we came out for the second half, Juan Berrocal replaced Gené, which was a substitution that would come back to hurt Getafe later on. Before they could make an impact, Alain Niom left with an injury to his left leg, and it was unclear, that left leg coming down here. Not quite sure the exact moment. Perhaps it was right there on his way down. He felt a pain that took him out of the game immediately, and while Getafe were down to 10 men, this was the moment that determined the game. Kyle Larin towards the box, trying to jump over Berrocal, and Larin wins the penalty. Berrocal sticking up his left leg while he was on the deck, and that was the difference. Watch Berrocal, it's leading into the box. After he goes down, there's that left leg. He takes down Larin, and in the process, a Canadian who's been so good for Mallorca over the last couple of weeks, once again creates a problem. And because it was going into the penalty area, it is deemed inside the box. The penalty would stand, and Larin, who scored twice last weekend, does it again here. His team leading 5th goal of the season that put Mallorca in front. Sent Soria the wrong way, and Mallorca took a lead that they would not relinquish, which is something that they've been excellent at doing all season. Juan Iglesias on the other side had one of the best chances for Getafe after the goal was scored, but he couldn't keep the header on target. Entering this game, Mallorca had gone in front first with a 1-0 lead 5 times. All 5 of those times, they held on to win that game. And this afternoon would be no different. Off of a quick restart, Larin had an opportunity to make it 2, but he'll have to settle for 3 goals in a week's time rather than 4. Couldn't keep this one down as he tried to loft it over Soria. It was a difficult task in the end. Alvaro Rodriguez was one of the many substitutions that Jose Portolas tried to implement as Da Costa came out. Received a hand from the fans who loved what they saw from him. And as soon as Alvaro came in, there was a moment between him and Antonio Raillo with an elbow that caused a bit of a stir. No more than 10 seconds on the pitch, and he was immediately thrusted into a one-on-one situation. Getafe continued to push, looking for that equalizer. This was a good chance for them. Carlos Perez with a shot that had to first maneuver through the trees of the Mallorca defense and then find its way beyond Greif, and the only thing he could do in the end was hit it right at the big Slovakian keeper, who managed to send it back from where it came. Perez then turned the corner, and this was Uche with a bit of craftsmanship, looking to manufacture a goal of his own. This was the story of the day. It just wouldn't fall for them at any cost. Still, you saw what Uche was capable of. That's why he was one of the best players on the pitch for Getafe. They have a lot of work to do in the second half of the season. It's not going to be easy. They entered the day just 1 point clear of the relegation zone, and that's the way they would end the day. It's a long marathon down at the bottom for them this season with a frustrated Jose Bordalas. And on this day, the one goal was all that was necessary. There were a few moments late in the game where Mallorca were more likely to take the second goal rather than Getafe, but on this occasion, like a couple of others, Kyle Aaron was very clearly in an offside position. In fact, he was called offside 4 times in this game, but all that mattered was the goal that he manufactured and scored. If you're looking for a prime moment for Getafe to come back and draw level, there weren't many. The game changed once Mallorca went in front because they were able to focus primarily on their defensive structure first, leaving Getafe desperate to come up with something from nothing. Uche gave it a go. And you could see the desperation that they were reduced to with moments like that. Nothing that they were able to do. And this had come after winning each of their last 2 home games, Getafe. We'll say in the end, they held themselves well against Mallorca, who are having a very strong season, but it just was not enough. Mallorca flying 19 games now through the season with that extra game in hand that they played before the Supercopa, so halfway through the year, and they've got 30 points to show for it. They almost found a second one as well late, Sergi Darder. They didn't need it. After their win last weekend, where they were reduced to 10 men, still managed to find a winner. This one goes their way as well. Yagaba Arrasate's team get the victory at the Coliseum. It ends Getafe 0, Mallorca 1.